I thought I was going to be spinning the motor in this episode. Sitting here right now, really doubt that's going to happen because it's Tuesday evening, like after 8 o'clock, and I wanted to have a video out yesterday. What's been taking me so long is that I've not found, I'm sure there's out there, but I didn't find any projects that went into technical detail that showed pairing a Golden motor to a Kelly controller. Usually the Golden motors come with like the VC500 or something like that, which I didn't get, if you recall, because I heard that it was overheating a lot. And this thing had water cooling and it's just much more technical details. It's exactly why I bought this controller that's made this take so long. I'll have a link in the description below. I've created a Google Doc where I've been keeping all of my notes, and I think when I checked it, when I finished reading this thing today, it was like 16 pages. Tracking the pinouts from the Hall effect sensors to the various inputs on this motor, to how to use the contactor, how to program it, and for the first time in probably 20 years, I have a Windows computer. Not willingly and under much duress. However, it does mean I have a nice rounded out ecosystem of operating systems. I've got Mac for my video editing, I've got Linux for my work, and now I've got Windows for programming things, because you might recall when I was trying to play with the Victron, their software works only on a bare iron Windows installed, not even a Windows VM. So now I've got a machine, it's an old laptop I had kicking around, it had been in retirement. So I got it reinstalled with Windows, and I'm going to use that for programming the controller. So I've already downloaded the software. I have no idea if it works. I wanted to turn on the camera so y'all could watch with me when I try to figure this out. Let me bring you in closer to show you some of the stuff I need to do though, before I can turn this thing on. So on screen about here, future me is going to put notes that I took on this. I'm going to try to remember it because in real time, me doesn't know what I'm actually showing you yet. So one of the things I have to check is the Hall effect sensor, which is this one, I believe. They have what's called Hall A, Hall B, and Hall C, which I'm assuming corresponds to the position of the three phases coming out of the motor. And then I think under Hall C on one, it says plus 5 volts, and on the other, above Hall C, is ground. So if that's the case, and I didn't want to check this until I had you with me, this would probably blow up if I tried to use it. It's this one. Yeah, there's the Hall effect sensor wires, and they believe they match yellow for yellow, green for green, blue for blue. Then I have the plus 5, the ground. I actually got 2 grounds, which makes sense because of the 2 Hall effect sensors. Oh, wait, no, there's 2 Hall effect sensors. Okay, well, anyways, there's 2 grounds here. And then the white is the temperature. Now, if the thing I was reading is accurate, well, hold on a second here. Oh, I've got brown and black. I bet you brown and black is the thermistor and the ground, because there's a temperature sensor in here. Okay, this is confusing. Lighting. I gotta go find my phone so I can look at these notes because I'm not memorizing all of it yet. It's got the colors here. So here's the Hall effect. Dark blue on this. I do appreciate how they've got markings on all of these. Oh, they've actually numbered the pins. That's what these are. Okay, so they've got corresponding numbers. Oh, Kelly. I'm impressed. Of course, your last name's Kelly. Of course you're good. Oh, that's arrogance. Right. So if I plug these 2 in. Okay. Look at that. Hall C, B is correct, A is reversed. So the Hall effect sensors are all inverted, but that's probably better in a sort of way because it's better to get the Hall effect screwed up than to get neutral and positive the wrong way around. Though that also does explain why the positive and the negative are not backwards. So one of the things I need to figure out is, can I pop these pins out and move them around? Because that pin has to come over here and that pin has to come over here. Okay, I have no idea how to open these up and how to move the pins around. I mean, in a pickle, so I could cut this pin and flip them and shrink tube them, but I really don't want to do that. Now, one of the things is there is a learning program, what do they call it? Identification angle. So if you set the identification angle here to 170, it triggers basically a learning routine. I'm wondering if that learning routine would be smart enough to realize the phases or the Hall effects were out of sync with each other. Like, is the worst case here is that it goes backwards? Because if that's the case, there's another setting in here that just lets you invert it. I'm going to have to ask on Patreon and see if anybody knows the answer to this. I'll see which one I figure out first. Can I pop these pins out? Or is it okay if they're backwards? The other thing I need to figure out is I'm using stranded wire, which I can solder in tin, but I'd like to put pins on these because these have to be stuffed into here temporarily. Also, I need to send some other signals from here. Okay, so apparently reversing the Hall effect is very bad, which makes sense because the color coming from the Hall effect has to match the color for the phase, I'm assuming. So I need to move these cables around, which means I got to try to figure out how to pull these pins out. And I thought, I could screw this up, so I'll turn the camera back on. So if I do, my sadness can be your entertainment. There, can you see that? I don't know if that's coming through, I hope it is. But these circular pins look like they're just held in by a ring with friction. So I'm hoping if I can catch on either side, I can prise that out. Let's see, and don't slip and cut the damn wire. Or stab myself. You know, maybe I need to get a sharp edge in. I'm gonna screw this up, aren't I? I am totally going to screw this up. One of the reasons I'm doing the motor side is that A, this is better documented, and B, it comes with a replacement. Actually, it's not replacement pins. These are meant to be the other side of these pins, but still. Oh, those are really flexible. Oh, and I'm also on the wrong side. Oh, these are really spongy. I hope that's in camera shot. Can I just straight up pull it out? No, that feels definitely latched in there somehow. I wonder if I shove a pin down there, would it push something out of the way to make it easier? I think these might just be waterproofing boots and not actually what latches it in place. Where's that long pointy probe? There's the long pointy probe. Stabby thingies. Let's see if I can do this without stabbing my finger thingies. Okay, yes, that's the one of the ones I want out. Actually, can I just pull this boot back? Yeah, this boot's coming up fairly easily. It's just really soft. I don't want to tear it, but... Okay, you know what? I'm going to open this up and get a better view at what's inside here. I'm sure there's some fancy tool. Also, there's the key. It goes in like so. That'll lock in the pulley down the road. It's almost above freezing. Clearly no longer sweater weather. Those are just weather boots, I think, so I can ignore those. Oh, I think I see it. I think I see it. I have no idea if you can see this. At the top here, I have no idea if you can see this. It looks like there's a pin I can lift up. Oh, these are different. Okay, that was the wrong side. I need to look at the other side. Oh, memories of playing with Lego. Oh, hello. Those are some chonky diodes. And is that a pre-charged resistor? I dare say I think it is. Now these push in. Are they part of the latching mechanism? If that's the case, can I grab this and pull it out? All right. Looking at this is this unpopulated. And this plastic thing gets stuffed in the front, which seems to hide the pins that pop these out. So the question is, can I grab this and pop that out? I can. And now I can see the pins. I think I got it. Okay, so now with that out, I don't know if I can actually do this in a way that you can see what I'm doing. If this is jittery and whatnot, I apologize. Okay. I think I was stabbing the metal and I have to sort of skip over the metal to get the plastic. No, stabbing the metal. I wish I could hold this here. I need a light that points right down at this. Oh, my old spots. Oh, what are the chances the battery's still any good? Oh my God, the battery's fine. Oops, zoomed in. Back in the early days of the channel, I used to use these as my lights before I switched to those lights. These have a horrible color to them, and they flicker, which is why I stopped using them. Now, I hope this doesn't flicker too much. Don't want to break it. Is there something else that this is grabbing onto? There's a little open spot here, and the plastic seems to be catching on this edge of the metal right here. So I'm trying to get the pin down like this to create a ramp so that when I pull it, it should pop out. And that works on other types of connectors, but I'm really struggling here. I don't want to pull too hard on the wire and break the wire. But I can't really get this probe in and something to push here at the same time, can I? Got it. So the trick was to bend the piece of plastic back much further than I would like. Okay, gotta do that 3 more times. Hey Cap, you gonna come up? You should have had your tail up and then the people could have seen it. Oh, there you are. Okay, oddly enough, the sewing needle seemed to have worked even better. I'm probably making some silly faces right now. Oh, fuck, I think I broke it. Well, let's try putting it back in. Okay, that one clipped in. But that's not the one I think I broke. Yeah, that plastic piece is pushed back quite a bit. Okay. Well, that was a risk. So last time I was being too careful, and this time I was being not careful enough. Okay, I have to be mindful that that pin doesn't come out. But for now, that one is done. Oh, it's a good thing I got 2 of them. How did the... Ah! I almost made a mistake. Oh, no, I didn't. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Oh, this yellow thing should keep those clips from backing off. So even though I kind of borked it, it shouldn't fall out once I've put this in. This should lock it in place. These are good connectors. So I was going to put this in the wrong way. See how it's half here and double here? So I need to flip this around, make sure I do half there and double there. Now, there we go. And that should be locked in. That should be good. So that is one Hall effect sensor with blue to blue and yellow to yellow. Okay, excellent. I just need to do this one so I don't blow it up later by screwing up the 2 pins. Make sure I'm doing the right one. Yeah, okay, so this is the one that's still backwards. Grab this, pull that, and with a little bit less aggression, push this plastic piece back. Oh, I really don't like how far I have to push that plastic back. It's really not meant to be a 2-trip connector. I think the reason the sewing needle is working better is it's stiffer. I wish my grandmother Vivian was still around. She was a perfectly prim and proper English lady, war bride. And every now and then she would let rip something rather uncouth. Like, this one's stiffer. I could hear her in her perfect British old voice going, "That's what he said." She was quite the character. Much like my daughter and myself, be very stubborn. Oh, come on, it's flipped back once. What did I do to make that come back? Okay, press down. Okay, I gotta get the pin right at the top. Got it. Okay, so what I was trying to do, as I showed, it's got like this hook that grabs, and I was trying to shove the pin in like this, but this part is sloped, obviously, so that when it pushes in, it can ramp over it. What I found is, instead of trying to slip under here at the top of the ramp, put the pin at the top and push, and it springs better. I don't know if that makes any sense, but let me see. If this one just pops out, then I can say that I'm thinking I'm starting to get it. Today's episode, how do you swap pins around? How exciting. Truly engaging YouTube. Also, by the time you watch this, I am probably past 10,000 subscribers, which is slightly mind-boggling. Got it. Yep, that was it. That's the trick. Yeah. 10,000. The mind boggles. I never thought enough of you weirdos existed that you'd find this interesting. I'm grateful as heck that you're out there. But, yeah, I'm more than a little surprised. That one's in. That one's in. All right, so making sure I put this thing in properly. The long, thinner part goes in. The grid, the fatter grid sticks out. Oh no, sorry, exactly the other way around. So with these ribs down, oh, it's so nice having two of these to compare against. Should be able to slap that back in. There is no way I'm spinning the motor in this episode. I'm gonna do very well just to get some of the wiring done tonight. Like, holy crap, I completely, massively underestimated how much work this was gonna be. I thought the wiring was just gonna be like, just, and it's done. With those exact sound effects. Not even close. Okay, so now let's double check again. All right, so ground to ground, red to purple, white to orange. Flip it over. Yellow to yellow, green to green, blue to blue. So that Hall effect one is confirmed good. This one, yellow to yellow, green to green, blue to blue. Flip her over. Black to black, white to orange, and red to purple. This has now been modified properly. And I'm actually going to print a couple of stickers that I will put on these Hall effect wires to say that Hall A and Hall C has been reversed. So that if something ever happens to me and someone buys this, they don't get caught thinking that the pinout is as it's documented, because it ain't anymore. Also, let me show you something else I've done. When I go to spin this up, there's going to be a significant amount of torque that's going to want to make this thing spin. And I didn't want to scuff up the painted aluminum. So what I did is I just had these old oak pieces that I cut, and I've stuck them into these ribs. I'm hoping that's coming across on camera. So the idea is that if this tries to rotate this way, this pin will press against, this pin will press against, and this pin will press against, and it'll stop it from rotating. And then similarly if the motor goes the other direction. What I don't have yet is something to stop it from jumping. Now, you're supposed to put screws in through here and have a metal plate that this bolts into. I don't have that yet. So what I am going to do before I spin this up is run a ratchet strap or two over it, and that just hold it down so that if this thing decides to go and this wants to try to jump out, it's restrained. You, cat, are not restrained. You are unrestrained. Well, I've got you here. I'll explain something else. So the Hall effect sensor issue has been resolved. To get this thing running initially, just to start it up and to do an initial calibration, I need to run a switch coming off main pack positive. It's going to go to this contactor, and then from here, it's going to come to here, and they were very adamant in big, bold red text that I have to run a pre-charge resistor across here. Even though I've got a pre-charge resistor here, I'm also going to put, this one here is switched, so I have to press this to set the pre-charge. When this is open, there's no current flowing through the pre-charge resistor when this is off anyway, but so this is not going to have a switch, it's just going to be hardwired across the pins. There's big capacitors in here, and they're very clear that it's going to damage something if you don't use a pre-charge resistor. So I'll have a pre-charge resistor here and a pre-charge resistor here. So I branch off the main 48 volt and run through, well, this is the contactor pin. So when this is shorted out, the contactor closes. If this isn't making a whole lot of sense, I don't even know if I'm going to include it, but in case I do, I probably will, because this is weird and confusing, but that's part of the process of learning, trying to keep all this stuff straight in your head. You can't think of the whole thing at once, at least not at this stage of learning. You get a broad idea, and then you zoom in and you take one piece at a time until you've got all the pieces together. At least that's my approach. I don't think I'm going to keep explaining things. I've explained the basics of it And there's going to be the document if you want to see it as well. You can pause and go look at that so you can play along at home if that's your thing. I'm going to make all the wires I need to get everything ready, and then when I'm ready to actually start cabling things together, I'll bring you back and I will talk about each individual piece as I do the wiring for it. I think that'll make more sense. So, well, as usual, it's going to be a while for me, but for you, so far I've just been doing normal soldering and wire connecting and whatnot. I'm going to use something I've not used before, so I thought I'd turn on the camera to show you. This isn't the right switch that I want. This is a three-way switch. Off middle on, and I only need two-way, so this is a bit of a waste, but I don't have a single throw one, so it'll work for now. The part that I was bringing you back for is I need to put a 2 amp fuse in line with this, and I ordered this collection. It goes together to make an inline fuse. And what I'm wondering is, for the trip home, I bought a miscellaneous pack of glass bullet fuses. I had no idea if anything was going to blow on the trip home, so I just had it as part of my spares kit. So I need to find a 2 amp and then see if it actually fits in this, and if it does, I gotta put this together. Actually, do these even fit? No, they don't. Okay, never mind, that's not gonna work. Oh, I bought some fuses when I bought these. Let's see if I have the right size fuses. Completely forgot they're right here, but I don't know what size I got. I bought these a long time ago, much earlier in the project. Ugh, I can't read this. 2 amp. Perfect. I have no idea what I originally bought this for, but there you go. So, does it want the fuse before or after the switch? I don't think it matters because there's no power flowing until the switch is closed. It shows the switch and then the fuse. So the switch, downstream fuse. Okay, so I'll put the fuse close to the switch so I know where to look for it. This does not appear to be solder. It seems to be crimp. Can I use these crimpers? People used to doing this are probably laughing right now. No. No. All right. I have a new plan. Oh, no, it's not working. That is definitely not working. Okay, I think I'm just going to fold this over with needle nose pliers. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Shit. I forgot to put this on first. Oh, I am just scoring win after win right now. Okay, is this crimped into... No, I can still get that off. Okay. So this is why I wanted to bring you back on the camera, so you can see me suffer as I try to figure this out. I'm trying to bend this back enough now that I can get the wire in. That's back in. Try this again. I know you're not supposed to solder these joints, but I might do it in this case. I mean, this isn't going to be the final switch anyway. This is going to get redone, so maybe it really doesn't matter. Okay, you know what? That could look worse. But you know what? I am going to solder it too. Just because I don't like how easy that looks like it's going to pull out. Solder joints break, especially in vibrations. So you're not really supposed to solder when you're doing anything on the boat. Okay, I think that's pretty good now, but I'm going to give it a little bit of another squeeze. Now this only got to carry 2 amps. It's nothing at all. Okay. Yep, that should be fine. So that's one side done. Ish. Sorta. Don't judge me. You know what? I think these outer wings are supposed to come over the shielding. Yeah, I think that's exactly what I was supposed to do. But I stripped it too much. Yeah, it's bottomed out. I can't push it in any further. Okay, well, now I know for next time. All right, another dab of solder, because that's the wrong thing to do. Oh, I mean, I've shown this before, but this is flux. And, oh boy, does it make a difference. That's what that Rice Krispie sound is. It's the flux boiling off. These are not very good anyway. They don't have any kind of real seal in here. So I wouldn't want to use these on the boat anyway. So another reason I'm pretty laissez-faire about screwing this up. Right, so I put that. Does the spring go in this side maybe? And this go on this side? That looks a bit better. There we go. I can't really test if this is working at the moment because, well, I have insulated. Oh, you know what? I think I might be able to get it. Let me There we go. Okay, so the fuse and everything is working. This is the contactor pinning. This is going to go, okay, this is easy. This is going to go to a ring terminal that I will probably put on the battery supply side as, well, just put it there. Wait, how did that work? Plus, goes into power, comes through the contactor, goes, okay, so this will go to a ring terminal that'll sit on the battery positive side, and this, the output of the switch, goes into pin 6. What I don't know yet is how am I going to actually physically push this into pin 6, because I don't want to use these yet. I want to save these for the final install on the boat, unless I can find what they are and just buy extras, but right now I can't. This is not good. It's not good for long term, but these IDC, inline, whatever, they're type of connector you usually see on circuit boards for plugging things in. I'm going to take one of these, and if I'm really careful, I'm going to try to solder it onto the end of the wire, and that'll let me just physically push it in. So I can't, the camera's not set up properly, but I did try pushing this in, and it gets a nice bite into the end of that pin. I mean, it's connected. I could probably look at it the wrong way and break it, but it is connected right now. I probably should have tinned the wire first. Not probably should have. I absolutely should have tinned that wire first. Now my problem is this has got some spring tension on it, so as soon as I heat it up, it's going to pop apart, I bet you. Just like that. Okay, I'm going to pull this apart and tin it. Okay. Okay. Is that good? Absolutely not. Will it do the job? I don't know, maybe. I need to put power through this in order to close that coil. So no, I can't continuity check through this. I'm just gonna have to stick it in and see if it works. Okay. So normally this would be your key switch. You put your key in and turn it and it would close the circuit, and you got the fuse and goes through the contactor and blah, blah, blah. Let me show you two. So there's the pre-charge resistor, battery in, battery out. This will get terminated here as well. This now goes to pin 6. So yeah, that's this done. It's getting late. I probably won't bring you back tonight. I'm just gonna work until I'm tired, go to sleep, wake up, and after work tomorrow I'll be back. It's gonna be 2 weeks between the last video and this one. You're watching this, so the video's out, but current me is sorry for the wait. It is the day the next. So let me show you what I did after I turned off the camera. So one of the things I wanted to do was to make this remote, more like it'll be on the throttle, because trying to hold it on with just that short cable was not working, and certainly not going to work once I'm actually controlling the motor. One of the other things I had to figure out yesterday was my second attempt at learning how to make these JST connections properly. Now I know what they're called, JST connections. My friend Andrew, who's been helping behind the scenes with all of this, had me pick up this kit. It wasn't too expensive on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description, not an affiliate link. This works. It's not the greatest, but it was cheap. If I keep doing this a lot, I'll buy a proper tool. But for starting out, it's perfectly fine. It made it so I could put these pins on it with a nice pokey bit, so it's very easy to plug them in. Because right now, I'm plugging them into this board, but later on I'll plug them into something else. So that got done. The output that's going to feed into here has the same style of pins on it, so I can push them. I don't know if I'm pushing them into the right place, but everything's off right now. But the idea is that when I'm testing, I can do something like this. Obviously it's not perfect, but it'll do the job. I'm not going to put the real ends on until I'm on the boat. Also, I have done, with the help of some amazing people who gave me pull requests, a lot of work on the software. But I'm going to do that as a separate episode because that was really interesting, and I want to keep the Helm as their own dedicated videos. This video is going to be about the actual wiring, and I think that's it. I need to program this. Maybe that'll be in this video. I haven't decided yet. So the other thing I did was I got the contactor all wired up. So the idea behind the contactor is that the positive terminal is going to come to this post. This post will come to the input side, and then the output will continue on to the motor controller. This will go on to here to pick up power. I was going to put this on here, but I had a lot more of the ring terminals that fit this post than I have this post, so I decided to use it there. And that'll be that. That'll let me turn this on. So to do the initialization, I don't need to have everything wired up. I think I've actually got most of it. Shy of... I haven't put the battery back together yet because I'm really scared to plug that in. I can't test it, and I'm worried I'm going to screw it up. But I got to get over that because that's how it's going to spin this. I might as well start putting it together right now. You can watch. Okay, that's going to be vaguely like that. Does that fit like that? It does, you know. Excellent. Okay, so that'll go like that. The next big one, it's going to go like that to there. This is going to come off. Put that under. Washer first, split washer second. You want good metal and metal contact, and then the split washer for springiness. I know, I'm telling you guys nothing you don't already know. Guys, gals, and others. All right. This will go here. This is just a stand-in for bus bars. Obviously on the boat I'll have real bus bars, but I've only got two pairs. One pair's on the boat and the other pair's downstairs on the 48-volt bank. Is it 11? It's Imperial. Oh, that's a 12, that's why. 7/16? Nope. 3/8. Too small. Okay, well, 12 isn't the right size, but it's the closest, so that's what I'll use. I don't need to kill it because, well, actually, this could draw a fair bit of current. I'm hoping not, but it could. Little fuse, is it going to be imperial or metric? 1/2 inch? Oh, not even close. 5/8. Bingo. Okay, not killing it. Oh, I don't have a wire to go from here to here yet. Okay, I'll come back to that in a minute. All right. That's going to go like that. I really should have done the BMS first. But this is more fun. I've done this a lot. I have not done this. Boring. Interesting. Oh, the ADHD mind. I got to do the BMS. Oh, don't screw this up. Don't screw this up. So I need B-, which is this one. And I have not even labeled these because why would I make my life any easier than I have to? That's just silly. All right. This is now in the way. Why did I put this on first? Go me. Okay, you can just fall out of the way for now. I have to be careful. I don't want to pull any of these out by accident. No, that'll touch the post and send the wrong voltage down. That would be very bad. Did I mention before this is a really bad idea the way I'm doing it? If I didn't, let me say it now. Negative, positive, negative, positive. It's the fact that I've done it so many times that makes me really nervous about screwing up. Because it's what, as soon as you start to feel comfortable doing something, that's when you're going to make a mistake. When you're nervous, well, you're nervous, so you're careful. Let me try a different camera position. Also, doing this is making me warm. Okay, back to this. Can you tell I'm finding any reason not to do this? I'm really nervous. Okay, anyways. Blah, blah, blah. Be very sure I'm pulling number 3. Negative, positive, 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 negative, positive. Ha ha! Let me show you what I just found. I don't know if you've noticed, I always count them out as I go. Negative, positive, negative, positive, negative, positive, positive, negative. That was an oops. Okay, so let me fix that. I don't know if that's the first time I've done that. Kind of surprised me if that's the first time I've done that, honestly. Okay. Positive, negative, positive, negative, positive, negative, positive, negative, positive. Okay, now we're good. If this is a whole bunch of jump cuts, it's because I'm trying to figure out how to film better, and I'm trying the camera in different places. 1, B2, B3. 1, 2, 3. This is one of the nylock or puzzle locks. You're not supposed to use them multiple times. And when I do the final install, if I do use nylocks, they'll all be new nylocks. But I mean, I don't even know what BMS I'm using yet. Hopeful, but I don't know. And that is why you tape your tools. Fuck! I am just on it. I've been very busy at work lately. Part of the reason I haven't been doing this is because when you're tired, you make mistakes. Oh, hey, Tatters. And I knew I needed to get clear-headed to look at this properly. I mean, that's why I made that mistake, I'm sure. Impromptu kitty interlude. He's been on a diet. If you look at any of the old videos, he was a lot more of a potato. You were quite the potato before. I mean, you're hardly slender, but you were definitely a potato before. Okay. All right, buddy, I need to get back to work. You can stay there, but I need to put... You're like, no, your arm is mine, human. Andy has his frogs. I've got my kitties. Oh yeah, these are the old batteries. The terminals are spaced differently. That's why I'm stretching all of these out. These are the the Bus N batteries. I mean, they're Eve, but they're not the LF280Ks. Do you know how cute you are? You're like, of course I do. I'm very aware of how cute I am. And you're going to make the most of it, huh? That's not food. That's a microphone so the people on YouTube can hear how much you're purring. Whoa, shit. I was pinching this BMS cable. Oh, balls. Did it cut through? No, it did not cut through. All right, Tatters. You're adorable and I'd love to give you some cuddles, but I almost made a big oops. Let me show you what I did. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but that was pressed under there. I hadn't fully tightened it down, thankfully, and I don't see any exposed metal. Wow, that's 3 close calls and I'm only on the 6th battery. God, I knew I was nervous. Just every now and then on a big project, you just get this feeling of dread, like you know something's going to go wrong. And that's how I've been feeling since I brought this up. It makes no sense whatsoever. Tatters, why are you biting me? You are being very lovey right now. 5, 6. Am I on 6? Yes, I'm on 6. Seven. That's a game. He's always trying to bite my nose. You're adorable, but YouTube's here to see the battery and the motor spin. You know, I should have just taken all of these out, strung them back, and traced them by voltage and plugged them in one at a time. That would have been smarter. Is it worth doing that now? In for a dime, in for a dozen. Okay. 8. 9. Battery 9. 8, 9, 10. Battery 10. Battery 10. I can't even remember when this BMS was last turned on. Might be like a good 2 years ago now. 11. So now this is battery 12. 13. One of the things that surprised me the most about doing this project and doing it in public is how many people, not a lot as a percentage, but a larger number than I would have expected, feel like it is their job to tell you you're going to fail. If you don't do things the set prescribed way, you're going to fail. And they seem almost personally offended that you have the audacity to try to do something different. I'm not saying people who are saying things like, this is untested, there's a high chance of failure, have you concerned yourself with these concerns, legitimate concerns, those are great, those are fine. It's the people who actively cheer your failure. The people who are like, just waiting for you to fail so they can tell you, I told you so. And they might be right. You might fail. And you can even say that to some of these people. So what? I might fail. And they just out the other side. It strikes me that there's some people who just cannot understand what some people find appealing about experimenting. I'm saying this now because I'm generally pretty good at about not letting other people's opinions bother me. But sometimes, you know, I'm human. It gets to me. And, well, I did this because I want to encourage people to try their own big projects. Knowing how to tell the difference between somebody who has good, sage advice, who's trying to fairly warn you about a mistake you're about to make, separate from people who just want you to fail, for lack of a better way to describe it. It's important to know how to tell the difference. Because if you can't tell the difference and you just tell everybody who gives you any criticism to basically flip off, you're going to miss out on a lot of great advice. But on the other side, if you allow people to just tell you you're going to fail and you let that get to you, you won't get anything done. You have to have that right balance between arrogance to think that you can do something that hasn't been done before or has been done rarely, with the humility to listen to people who know what they're talking about and the wisdom to tell the difference. I'm struggling the most with that third one, and I say this publicly because, well, if you're watching this and you're the kind of person to try your own big thing and you find yourself doubting a lot about what you're doing, ask yourself where that doubt's coming from. And if it's coming from people who just want to see you fail, we have a saying in the mermaiding community: mermaids don't concern themselves with the opinions of shrimp. All right, 15. It's particularly true because you will make mistakes. And when you make a mistake, all of these people who've been telling you, you can't do this, you can't do this, there's a part of your brain that says, see, they were right. Shake it off. Take your lesson from your mistake and then move on. Now, is this off? It is off. Okay, before I connect this, I want to mount the ground just so that it's not flapping in the breeze. All right, so that's secured, this is off, and the last two are going to be this battery. Now, before I try to boot this, I'm going to clean up the wires, check all my bolts, and check the voltages. It'd be so rewarding when I'm doing this for the last time on the boat and I can lace everything. Oh, it's going to be so pretty. I won't do it for the first build of the boat for this summer. This summer is just going to be get in and test and get out. Next winter will be the final install where I do everything really nice. This little crammed in spot that I'm in is kind of tight. Originally I wanted this table to go all the way across, but my neighbor / woodworking teacher, his shop, the largest he can run through his equipment is 8 feet. So I ended up making it a waterfall. This has turned out to be so useful. I've used this space for so much. That was, as Bob Ross would put it, a happy little accident. These posts were originally bought to be fuse holders for the T-class fuse. I very quickly realized I wasn't going to use them, and they've just been languishing in my toolbox for a long time. It's kind of nice to finally have a use for them. Now, I believe ABOIC says you can't have more than 3 connections per ring terminal. This makes it 4. So this would not be allowed on the boat. I say that, I mean, obviously this is very temporary. Someone fact checked me on that, but I'm pretty sure it was 3 ring terminals per post maximum. So all the balance leads are still in tight. Feels like it. Nothing's crimped. I hope you can see that. I say right before putting everything in front of it. Oops. Wrong red. 53 volts, 53.72. Okay. Actually, I should just take these off. I don't need them for a bit. I mean, I will need them soon. Also, someone very kindly saw that I took one of the wires and wrapped it around one of these pins and offered to buy me the proper terminals. Thank you. I found it though, so I didn't need it. that was sitting under my table somewhere. Okay, so I might have to turn off the camera for a minute because I need to make the cable that goes from here to here and from here to here. I think I already have one of these. Well, anyways, I've got to find or make the cables for these connections. So I'm going to let you go and then go do that. And once I've got the cables, I'll bring you back when I start connecting them. All right, I ended up just making 2 brand new cables. I had tried to go through my stock Kepler looking for something that could work, and I couldn't. I am running desperately low on this. I'm gonna have to buy another roll, but anyways, that's not what you're here for, to hear me musing about my inventory concerns. So let's hook these up. Before I do anything, make sure that there's no voltage here. No, she's dead, okay. I was flipping this switch and I don't know what the off position is, so. Okay, so in case I forget, leaning towards the open is on. Now it should be off. This has got to be stuffed into one of the pins, but I'm going to worry about those in a minute. Oh, and one of my friends who has the same motor, he cut these short and found out, I thought these were really stiff, just big individual strands of wire. Each one of these rings that you can physically feel and see is not a single conductor. It's many, many conductors together, and then you have a bunch of bundles that are coiled together. I'm doing a really crap job at explaining it, but I need to look to see Uniform, Victor, Whiskey, which one is which color. I need to look at the manual, but I'll do that in a minute. So let's get this set up. You know, before this project, I never heard who Little Fuse was. It's kind of funny how much of their stuff I've bought now. Seems like good stuff. Hope it's good stuff. Certainly cost enough to be good stuff. I don't know what the torque is for these, and I'll worry about that later. This has got 1 switch, 2 switch, 1 fuse, 2 fuse. This is a very well protected device. I really hope I don't screw this up and blow it up, because this is like $1,000. The motor controller is currently just floating free. You're supposed to put a bolt through here, but I've got the cooling block underneath it. So I've got to figure out how to make standoffs when I go to put this on the boat, but that's obviously not needed for right now. So that's the positive side done. Where's the grounding wire? There it is. There we go. You know, there's going to come a point when the conversion is done, and I'm going to keep some stuff for spares, obviously, but I'm going to find myself with a whole pile of wires and stuff that I've made through this project. Oh, I just found the wire I was looking for from yesterday. Well, now I got 2 of these. Oh, bollocks. Anyways, as I was saying, a time's going to come where I'm going to finish the project and I'm going to go through and have a huge swath of leftover wires and stuff that I've made at various times in this project. I'm not going to keep them all on the boat because my boat's really small. So I don't know what to do with it. Maybe do a giveaway. Maybe I'll give them all to my patrons when I'm done. So I looked up, what is it? Yellow goes to Uniform, green goes to Victor, and blue goes to Whiskey. So Uniform, Victor, Whiskey. As much as this is expensive and I don't want to blow it up, it's also the first thing I ever bought with patron money was this motor and this controller and the Smart Shunt. So I'm kind of treating it like a gift, so I'm extra not wanting to blow it up. I keep finding little white cat hairs. Those are from Mr. Lynx. He's been gone for a year now. His fur is eternal, though. Alright. That's annoying me. There's 2 rows here, so I wanted to put the blue on top, the top one on top, and I ended up putting the bottom one on top. Yeah, whatever. This is just for testing. Why am I worrying about such silly things? Oh, these wires are... After working with the anchor wire, which is so flexible and easy to work with, this stuff is inelegant. I mean, I'm sure it's perfectly suited for spec. Also, these ends are soldered, which is something you're never supposed to do. I don't know if you can see, but that's been soldered to close it up. Now, they could have just done that to keep from corrosion. I'd have to cut this open to see. I'll have to ask my friend if he's still got the ends. We can cut them open and see if they're soldered all the way through or if it's just at the end for corrosion resistance. If it's just at the end for corrosion resistance, that's an idea I might actually steal. Oh, this thing's been sitting on my table since November. It's been 4 months now. Now, the last thing I still need to do is get the ratchet straps to hold this motor down. Oh, and one of the things I realized is that I want to make an electric outboard, but one of the problems you have to worry about with outboards is them getting stolen. So I was trying to think of how I can do an electric outboard that's, I mean, the batteries and whatnot are not so heavy that I can't lift them in and out of the boat, but even if I can lift them in and out of the boat, I'm not going to want to haul them with me when I go into town to get groceries and stuff like that. I want to get like a 1980s outboard and put one of the smaller version, the 5 kilowatt, into that and make it look like it's actually from the 80s, a little scuffed up and everything. Okay, that's a whole other project. Right, this is now done. So the next thing to do now is to start populating these pins. So the 23.11 is the one that is fully populated. Oh, bollocks. This is the male side. Okay, are my pins going to still be able to push in? So where does the switch go? It goes into ground pin 6. This is where alligator clips would come in handy. Can I actually just stab this in? No, I definitely cannot. Okay, I need to figure out a way to make that connection. Let me try these JST pins I was using. They're narrower. Can I stab those in? I think that's connected. Damn it, I never thought about that. The male side, or this being the female side, is easy. This being the male side is hard. I'll show you what I'm doing. So those are the female pins. Those can be pushed in fairly easily. So at the base of that, where it's crimped, there's a little bit of a hole. I tried soldering on one of these short pins. I need to cut this off and redo it with a longer pin, but I'm going to try the JST connector. This might be too heavy gauge for the JST, but if that's the case, I have longer versions of these. I know the lights aren't good here, but there's the longer ones I'm talking about. Once I get a bit more comfortable with these JST crimpers, I was trying to look for a YouTube video, and there's a few of them out there, but a lot of them had a lot of talking. I want to make a really short video where it's just, here's how you do it, and then end the video. All right, I think it'll be okay for the purposes I'm doing right now if I strip this back further. It's definitely too big, but I think I can make it work well enough. That was definitely too big. And this is just a signal wire. It's not carrying any current of note on it. I mean, it passes the tug test. Pin 6, again, conveniently labeled. I have to say, I'm very impressed with Kelly. Okay. I think that's in. Okay, so that is the key switch fully wired up now. Wired up. I've not used Windows in a very long time. Oh, this is a weird angle. Okay, screen recording for Xbox games. No thank you. I'd use QuickTime on the Mac. Can I use QuickTime on this? Bear with me while I figure out screen recording on Windows. Or I should say, bear with me while I figure out everything on Windows. Very out of touch. It's so weird seeing this connected. It's been a long time. Okay, I need to run a signal wire to pink. Where's the power supposed to be coming from? Through the key switch. I've got the key switch just going to ground. Did I do this wrong? I need another wire to go from here to pin 7. Actually, no, I need to splice the output. This has to go to pin 7. Into the fuse, out. Oh, futz. I put the fuse on the wrong side, but that should be fine because a fuse will pop so long as it's... So they're showing key switch fuse. I've got fuse key switch, but it should still be protected either way. I have to come out the other side. I need to splice off of here and pick up a wire and send it to pin 7. Yes, okay. I have a bit more work to do. So I hope this comes across, but what I'm going to do is strip this back and do like a wire wrap. I am not proud of this. Always cut towards yourself. On the nice side, this contactor is tinned. The wire coming off the contactor, that is. All right, let me show you what I've done. So, fuse, switch, output, One goes to the contactor, which follows through to the ground, and one I have to pick up from here to run to hot. So what I'm going to do is strip this back a decent amount and just wrap it. I need to expose more of this. You know, for all the effort I'm going through this, simply cutting it probably would have been faster and would have let me use heat shrink tubing. So let's take this wire, wrap it around like so. A little bit of flux. I thought I was getting the creamy stuff. This is very, very viscous stuff. It's the same viscosity of water. I can't believe I'm doing this. Do I have no shame whatsoever? I mean, clearly the answer to that is no. That's good and tight. Appropriate colored duct tape, or electrical tape. All right, I'm gonna put a JST on that. Strip this like 2 millimeters. How little you strip that, I don't know if you can see that. It's not much. I'll show it better when I do a dedicated tutorial. Blind leading the blind style tutorial. And terminated. I've been going for a while. My second battery's getting low. All right, let's get a little shrink tubing on this. Pink is the bottom center. All right, so that is 6 and 7 connected. So they're showing a chart at the bottom, which is for initial boot up. It is showing the throttle connected. Now it's showing the +5 source and the ground and the output, but because it's coming from this, I don't need to worry about that. So I need to connect the ground and the wiper signal, which goes to 3 and 20. But now what? I don't want this thing to fire up and just start ripping at half speed. Oh, also, one of the settings I'm going to set goes between low speed, normal speed, and high speed modes. I'm not quite sure what those are, but apparently if they're not connected, it defaults to mid speed. That is the alternative use of the forward, neutral, and reverse switch. I'm not connecting that, so once I configure it, it should default to FNR, but there won't be any connection, so it'll be in neutral. So, okay, so without that switch, this should be considered to be a neutral and should not try to spin, regardless of what this is. Okay, so if that's the case, then I need throttle to 3 and ground to 20. So that is up. 3 is top center. 20 is ground beside it. Throttle signal and ground. Okay, so I'm confident this is done correctly. Should I set this all the way back to 0 volts? Because it's going to default, again, it's going to be in neutral in the FNR, and I don't have the foot switch yet, so it's not going to have the foot switch. So there's a lot of reasons why this should not try to spin this yet. Getting close to midnight. The scaredy cat part of me was like, let's leave this till tomorrow, which for you won't mean anything, because either way, I'm about to spin it from your perspective. The question is, for me, do I try to spin this tonight or do I try to spin this tomorrow? I think I'm going to try to spin this tonight, which means I need to go get the ratchet straps, which means I'm also going to swap out the camera battery. I am so fucking nervous right now. Pardon the F-bomb, but I'm going to leave that one in because, yeah. Recognize these? Might scratch the floor, but I'm redoing the floor soon anyway. There. If I do this, come up like this, and come under here, and around like that. Can you tell I'm just winging this? Really should have made a proper plate for this. Problem is I don't believe there's many woods I have access to that would be strong enough to be thin enough to put a bolt through. Well, I mean, that's not true. There's definitely some that are strong enough. Okay, I'm just being lazy. I don't know why I didn't do it. Hopefully I don't come to regret that. Oh yeah, I saw a trick where someone was saying the way you're supposed to do this is you're supposed to put that in like that. There we go. Like that. Okay. got my hair caught in it. Okay. Oh, it's actually cutting through the, whatever. These were cheap. I'm gonna have to put handles on this. All right. This feels pretty secure now. I know you can't see the output, but that's okay. You've seen it before. Currently, the DAC output is 0 volts, dead flat, which this thing should actually treat as a fault, I believe. There's a couple of settings that I'll go through once I'm starting to configure it. I'll talk about this more in the Helm video, but a bunch of people were like, what happens if the throttle cables get shorted out, damaged, unplugged? How is the controller going to react? And when I was reading the manual for this, it seems like they already have thought of that, which makes sense. This is what they've been doing for a while. And they have a dead zone at the upper and lower end. And I believe the default is it has to be higher than 1 volt to be considered a connection at all. All right, I'm pretty sure you can't see what's on this screen, but so be it. Okay, no, I can't use QuickTime for screen recording. Damn it. Windows key, Alt-R. Gallery window free with the play. Okay, so I think I'm doing a screen record now. I am exceedingly nervous right now. Okay, first, 5 volts across the BMS to boot it. These batteries have been sitting for a couple years, so let's see if they've still got power on them. 4.7 volts, that should do. I need to get from there to there. This is not long enough. Did I get that polarity backwards? Why are you not booting? God, I hate this BMS. All right, I don't want to turn on the bench supply because I want to make that its own video. Am I supposed to put the B plus, or the positive to the B minus and the ground? Oh God, JK, I hate you so much. How am I going to do this? That's ground, so it's got to be the other way around. It's got to be this way. Ground would go to main pack negative, I would imagine. Why is this thing not waking up? Got it. Okay. So, future reference, if you have one of these old JKBMSs, the positive goes to main pack negative, the negative goes to the P minus. Okay, whatever, done. Now, where's this? I mean, the BMS didn't blow up, so that's a good sign. Old BMS, it's actually called old BMS. All the cells look good. That looks good. Where are the controls? Output discharge balance, okay. So is my screen recording still going? No, it doesn't look like it is. I don't know if the screen recording is still going. All right, warning, prohibit doing any configuration. Yeah, they're very, very, very clear about making sure the motor is not being used when you're configuring this thing. Yes to continue if motor is not running. It's not going to find it. Controller, no power or RS-232 cable disconnected. Okay. I don't know what COM port this is because I don't use Windows. Oh, it would help if I plugged it in. Do I have to install a driver for this damn thing? Nope, there it is. COM 3. Okay, so it's on COM 3, so I come over to here. Now we start powering this thing up. So right now I should have, good, so you can see it, not me. Three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, provide this power. Nothing blew up. I've got 53 volts. Okay, now I should have nothing across the controller yet. Oh yes, I should because of the pre-charge resistor. 53 volts, okay. Is the power going through the pre-charge resistor enough to boot the controller in this thing to let me see this in the program? So, state, open failure, open. Controller, no power or USB cable disconnected. All right, do I have to flip this? Jesus fuck. That was a loud noise. Open. COM3 opened. Okay, auto connect. It's talking to it. Now this is supposed to beep. There's a bunch of error codes. Well, error codes, beep codes I should call them. Okay, this should be alive. Why am I not seeing the settings? Workspace. Baud rate 19.2. I mean, that's the default. It's for its own software, so I'm assuming that's right. User parameter. There it goes. Oh, I hope the screen recording is still recording. I don't think it is. Okay, you know what? I'm going to bring you over so you can see the screen in case the screen recording isn't working. We're going to do it the old-fashioned way. Ah, there we go. These are the settings here. Startup H pedal, brake H pedal. Okay, where's my configurations? I've got them in 3 steps. Programming nodes. Set low voltage to 40 volts. Low voltage is currently 36. I'm going to change this to 40. Over voltage is currently 90. That's way too high. I want to set that to 58.4. Actually, no, I'm just going to leave it at 58 because I don't know if it takes floats or if it only takes integers. Motor current is 100%. I'm not changing that. Identification angle is 85. This is what I have to set to 170. When I send 170, this should start basically it figures out the angles, whatever they mean. So like it figures out the motor and it does its thing, and this will jerk around. It takes a couple of minutes. That's what I really want to do today. If my audio goes to crap, that's why. I'm going to try to get this done before the battery dies. 85. TPS low. Where did it go? Why did that crash? Ah, okay. 40 and 58, and I'm going to write to save those 2 settings. So write success. Okay, so this way if the program crashes, I'll make a couple changes and then reset it. User parameter, TPS low error. Okay, what other settings was I talking about? Battery limit can be set to peak current, valid 20. Okay, I'll leave all that as default. Okay, the key thing is I want to get the motor to actually move. So I'm going to change that 85 to 170. And I'm going to back you up because if something interesting happens, it's going to happen right now. It's 170, right? And this can take 2 to 3 minutes. Do I have to turn the key off and back on again? I think I do. Angle item in the user mode, then click right button in user program. Wait a few seconds before restart the power supply. Okay, so restart, off, on. Oh, that's the contactor making that noise. I hear it. I should have put some tape on this. This should start spinning. Do I need tape? Yep, it's moving. It's the very first start of the motor. 1, 2, 3, and then I think it's 1, 2, that's it, it's done. 3, 1, 2. I think that's the internal reset. 3, 2, internal reset, yep. And it said this can take a couple of minutes. Now, if I come back into the program, if I go to user, and I say parameter, it should be back to 85, and it is. Okay, so now am I supposed to... Okay, so now I should be able to turn this off. Motor off. Back on. Oh, that contactor is satisfying. Okay. Ain't much, but yeah, it actually moved the tape. I am not going to list this as the first start of the motor because this isn't the first start, but it's the first power up of the motor. Holy shit. That was a huge hurdle. That was a huge, huge hurdle. Maybe not technical, but mental. I'm going to end the video here because I think I've already got a lot and it's relatively boring. I have 2 videos I need to do next. One is going to be going over the Helm controls. I'm going to do some more work on that. That'll be its own dedicated video, probably not a super long one. And then I'm going to do one on finishing the configuration of the controller and spinning the motor under my own control. Which one is next? Current me doesn't know. If you like this, can you do the usual YouTube doobly-doo things and like and subscribe? Because it really does feed the algorithm and it makes kitties happy. And that's a lie because the kitty doesn't care. He's going to get his kibbles no matter what. I'm the Digital Mermaid and I will see you in the next video. Bye!